First part.
You walk in, they start walking up, the guy who's going down to 48. And the guy who's going out, start walking up, and grab him, stop, I said, "I'll show you barbers." He walks up,
Oh,
the guy on top, the guy comes around, he says, "Winner goes to jail, the winner goes to the hospital, which is which?"
He goes down, doesn't he come down? It's party over.
Yeah, I guess we're okay.
No handcuffs, no nothing.
Roll. Call the meeting to order. It's Tuesday, June 12th, 7 o'clock. Time set aside for the Common Council meeting, City of Nekoosa. Take roll call, please.
Brian?
Here.
Larry?
Here.
Thomas?
Here.
Wyatt? Here. Schultz?
Here.
Credit? Here. Hamilton? Here. Spoon? Here.
I'd, excuse me, entertain a motion to approve the previous Common Council minutes.
So moved.
Second. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Entertain a motion to approve the treasurer's report.
So moved. Second.
Motion and second to approve the treasurer's report. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Now is the time we have set aside for the citizens forum. We do have a few, excuse me, few citizens in the audience who would like to speak.
I was just stopping by to talk about the Party Animal Cycle bike show that we do every year. This year it's July 21st, and I think last week there was a meeting that Rick had put me on the agenda, and I guess handled it for me, so to speak, but just kind of wanted to make I guess talk about it a little bit as far as what's going on, but it's really no different than any past years. We've talked to Rick about what we were going to do that we've done in the past, and pretty much the same thing goes for what we've done. So we'll do the brat fry and the bike show in the bank parking lot. I gave Joe the insurance information that the city needs. Also gave a copy of that to Rob over at the bank. So everything's set up there, and like I said, it'll just be kind of the same thing that it was in the years past. We'll have music in the park, places for people to sit and eat, and then doing the bike show in the parking lot. But that's about it. So I mean, really nothing that's changed as of yet. Obviously, as the years progress, it continues to grow, and as it grows, we'll see what needs to change in that regard. But I think everything's good. So I just wanted to, like I said, I wanted to stop down last week, but I didn't realize that we were confirmed on the agenda. So just so that everybody knows what's going on, and you know.
And we'll coordinate then.
Yeah.
Once the council approves everything, to coordinate before the event for whatever you need it for the park.
Sounds good.
Yeah, sounds good. Cindy?
My name's Cindy Jostin. I'm your Wood County Clerk of Circuit Court. I have been your Clerk of Court for 20 years, and this is the first time in 20 years that I've had opposition, which is why I'm here to introduce myself to you tonight and say hi to those of you that know me. There's a lot of information in the brochures that I gave you about myself, so I won't go into that. I'd like to give you just a little bit of information about the office. In 2017, we filed 8,800 cases, and we are averaging 10,400 documents per month in all of the cases that we have. So most of those documents come in through e-filing, but not all of them. Those that do come in paper form are being scanned in and moved into the electronic files. We took about 2 or 3 years in order to convert all of our paper files to electronic files. And just about the time we were finished up, then the state decided, okay, now we're going to go mandatory e-filing. So the transition from that e-files that we were using into mandatory e-filing was very easy for my office and for the judges. So at this point, I have one person that I expect to retire within the next year. Going to e-filing has reduced the workload somewhat in the office, so I expect to eliminate one position through attrition within the next year or so. So I'll be saving all of the taxpayers a little bit of expense in that area. Also, we created the collection deputy position quite some time ago, and we are now moving into the newest option for debt collection, and that's by submitting debts to the State Debt Collection Agency, or SDC. We started that back in January, and we're ahead of most of the counties in that because it's a manual process. Everything has to be entered manually into their system. The good news is that this morning we got an email from CCAP. I'm sure most of you have heard that term before, that they are going to update the system tonight, and we will be able to submit those electronically within the next few weeks. So the submission process is going to be much quicker for me, and I will be able to clean up and prep the files much quicker ahead of time in order to get those submitted. So 2 things I see coming down the pipe for you in the next year or so, and that is the reduction in expenses because of removing 1 position, and also an increase in revenue as we get these debts rolled over to SDC. So I would ask that you look at the brochures that I hand out, and come August 14th, because this will be decided in a primary, that you vote based on the experience and the qualifications. And if you have any questions, I would certainly be happy to answer them.
Thank you.
Thank you very
Thank you.
much.
Tom, we actually have you as an agenda item, so once we get through the committee reports, we'll bring you forward, okay? Okay, thank you. With that, we'll move on to committee reports. Ways and Means, Chairman Cook.
Ways and Means had 1 meeting to report. I make a motion to accept the minutes as presented.
Motion and second to accept the minutes of the Ways and Means Committee meeting. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried.
The Ways and Means Committee meeting was held on Tuesday, May 8th, 2018 at 6:30 p.m. That would be the wrong date, right?
Right.
June 12th.
Ways and Means Committee meeting was held on Tuesday, June 12th, 2018 at 6:30 p.m. in the council chambers at City Hall. Members present were Garrett Kuhn, Robert Schultz, Beth Thomas, and Brian Krupsack. Also lieutenants were Mayor Dan Carlson, Larry Krupsack, August Wyatt, Rick Schmidt, and Brad Hamilton. Number 1, we audited all the bills. Number 2, recommend applications for beverage operator licenses. Class A combo beer and alcohol. Class A beer. Class B combo beer and alcohol. And cigarette license applications. And I have attached list if anybody is interested in looking at them, they're right here. Number 3, recommend renew the contract for Absorb Tech with no annual increase. And number 4, recommend donation of $500 to the Teen Fireworks Committee of Wisconsin Rapids. I make a motion to approve items 2, 3, and 4.
Motion and second to approve items 2, 3, and 4, the Ways and Means Committee meeting. Roll call vote, please, Mr. Rush.
Wyatt?
Yes.
Reddick?
Yes.
Brian?
Yes.
Schultz?
Yes.
Thomas?
Yes.
Kuhn?
Yes.
Hamilton?
Yes.
Larry?
Yes.
Moving on, Public Works, Chairman Krupsack.
Public Works has 1 change to make. Item 5 should read, recommend 2018 wastewater treatment plant projects.
Which one is that, sir?
Item 5.
Thank you.
Well, that's, Public Works has 1 meeting to report on, and I move to have minutes accepted as read.
Second.
Motion and second to accept the minutes of the Public Works Committee meeting. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
To the Honorable Mayor and members of the Nekoosa Common Council, Public Works meeting was held on Tuesday, June 5th, 2018 at 3:30 p.m. in the Nekoosa Council chambers. Members present were Larry Krupsack, Garrett Kuhn, Robert Schultz, and August Wyatt. Also in attendance were Public Works Director Rick Schmidt and Mayor Dan Carlson. Item 1, recommend a portion of Cranmore Road for 2019 the Albrecht Road project. Item 2, discuss 2018 Wood County road projects. Item 3, discuss Nekoosa Urban Forestry Program. Item 4, recommend upgrades to well 5 for $28,920. Excuse me, that was item 4. Item 5, recommend 2018 wastewater plant projects. And item 6, discuss donor sign for Culture Park. Any questions? If not, I move to adopt items 1, 4, and 5.
Second.
Motion and second to adopt items 1, 4, and 5 of the Public Works Committee meeting. Roll call vote, please, Mr. Rush.
Schultz?
Yes.
Thomas?
Yes.
Larry?
Yes.
Kuhn? Yes. Brian?
Yes.
Hamilton?
Yes.
Wyatt?
Yes. Public Safety. Chairman Krupsek? No,
Hamilton.
excuse, sorry. Chairman Hamilton. Attaboy.
Public safety, it's gotta be tonight,
Secretary.
something's going on. I don't know what-
Secretary Krupsek.
Yeah.
1, 2, 4.
It's the water. We had one meeting this month, I moved it for the minutes as presented.
Second.
Motion and second to accept the minutes of the Public Safety meeting. All in favor?
Aye.
The Honorable Mayor and members of the Nekoosa Common Council. Public safety meeting was held on Tuesday, June 5, 2018, 5 p.m. in the Nekoosa Council chambers. Members present were Brad Hamilton, Larry Krupsek, Curtis Breda, and August Wyatt. Also in attendance were Brian Krupsek, Mayor Dan Carlson, Robert Schultz, Police Chief Sean Woods, Garrett Kuhn, DPW Director Rick Schmidt, Ambulance Chief Mark Myers, Assistant Ambulance Chief Ken Moody, Fire Chief Mike Hargy, Assistant Fire Chief Dave Reichman. Item 1, recommend accepting resignation of part-time police officer Derek Phillip. Item 2, recommend purchasing 2 new body armor vests for $1,500. Item 3, recommend purchase of new police lockers for approximately $2,100. Item 4, recommend creating handicap parking spot on Market Street at the corner of Alexander Avenue. Item 5, recommend fire department resignation of Brian Krosman. Item 6, recommend mayor sign memorandum of understanding ambulance agreement with Town of Rome. Item 7, recommend hiring Joe Gomez, Jake Tim, Joshua Schecker, and Dawn Carlson for an ambulance service. Item 8, discuss CPR outreach course. Item 9, recommend sending 1 person to the Wisconsin Chiefs Seminar Training Conference, Green Bay, August 5 through the 8th, 2018 for contract. Any questions? I move for adoption items 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 9.
Second.
There's a motion and a second to adopt items 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 9 of the Public Safety Committee report. Roll call vote, please, Mr. Rowe.
Schultz?
Yes.
Hamilton? Yes. Wyatt?
Yes.
Kuhn? Yes. Thomas?
Yes.
Brian?
Yes.
Brett? Yes. Larry?
Yes.
Property, Recreation, and Human Affairs Committee report. Chairman Krupsek, this time.
Property, Recreation, and Human Affairs had 1 meeting to report with 1 change to number 7. I make a motion to accept the minutes as read.
Second.
Motion a second to accept the minutes of the Property, Recreation, and Human Affairs Committee meeting. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried.
To the Honorable Mayor and members of the Nekoosa Common Council, a Property, Recreation, and Human Affairs meeting was held on Tuesday, June 5th, 2018 at 6 p.m. in the Nekoosa Council chambers. Members present were Brian Krupsek, Chairperson, Curtis Beretta, Secretary, Beth Thomas, and Garrett Kuhn. Also in attendance were Larry Krupsek, Police Chief Sean Woods, Mayor Dan Carlson, and an attached list. Number 1, discuss ATV, UTV routes in the city. 2, recommend Public Safety Committee move forward with an ATV, UTV plan. 3, discuss 2018 Pumpkin Fest with Bill Caverly Sr. 4, recommend party animal be granted use of Thompson Park on July 21st, 2018. 5, discuss downtown land on West Bueller Avenue. 6, recommend approval of event ordinance pending city attorney approval. 7, discuss amendment to the Lynn Creek Estates Covenant. 8, discuss splash pad project. 9, discuss street light pole banners on Market Street. 10, discuss urban forestry program. And 11, discuss comprehensive outdoor recreation plan. I make a move to adopt items 2, 4, and 6.
Second.
A motion and a second to adopt items 2, 4, and 6 of the Property, Recreation, and Human Affairs report. Roll call vote, please, Mr. Rush. Excuse me.
With respect to item 6, Chief Woods and I did have a half-hour discussion on Monday going through the entire proposed ordinance. He was making his corrections on his, typewriter on his computer, and I'm told that then he emailed those changes. I would represent to the members of both of the Property Rec and Human Affairs Committee and to the other members of the Common Council that all the changes we made were for clarification, and there was no there was no change in the substance of the ordinance. It was more for clarification, and there was a grammar issue.
Thank you.
So with that, roll call vote, please, Mr. Rowe.
Kuhn,
Yes.
Thomas,
Yes.
Greta,
Yes.
Larry,
Yes.
Hamilton,
Yes.
Brian,
Yes.
Wyatt,
Yes.
Schultz.
Yes.
Next committee report, wage and salary, Chairman Hamilton.
Wage and salary had one meeting this last month. I moved to adopt the minutes as presented.
Second.
Motion and second to adopt the minutes of the wage and salary committee meeting. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
The Honorable Mayor and members of the Nekoosa Common Council, Wage and Salary Committee meeting was held on Monday, May 14, 2018, at 4:02 p.m. in the Nekoosa Council Chambers. Members present were Brad Hamilton, Chairman, Larry Krupsack, Secretary, and Robert Schultz. Also in attendance were Attorney Dean Dietrich, Rick Schmidt with the DPW, Fire Chief Mike Hartshee, Police Chief Sean Woods, and City Clerk Joseph M. Rush, II. Item 1, we discussed the employee handbook. No action needed. Hopefully we'll get that.
Moving on, under old business is the raise order on the Tom Higdon property. Tom, you have the floor.
Yes, sir. I'm coming here this evening. I purchased this property approximately 6 years ago. I was in the process of paying it off. I paid it off in 2015. I paid back 7 years of back taxes prior to that. Been paying the taxes on the property since then. I was a union boilermaker for 38 years. I traveled around the U.S. working. I was advised to make some improvements on the home. I failed to comply with that at the time. I had people working for me, and I didn't have the right people, and they weren't getting the right job done. So at that time, I was asked to, I was given opportunity after opportunity to get this home in order, and I failed to comply. So before the decision was made for the raise order, back in, I think it was last September, I had sold this property on a land contract. The guy failed to comply with what he needed to do also with the house. In January, he had called me and told me he no longer wanted anything to do with this project. I said, okay. I've been living in the Philippines since last July, and I come home for Christmas for 2 weeks. I was unable to do anything this winter as far as making any improvements prior to your decision. After, I'm not a lawyer, but after I got all the information on the appraisal of the home, the home appraisal at $30,000, I believe, $31,400. And according to the raise order, if the improvements are greater than 50%, which is $15,700, then I talked to a couple attorneys in Wisconsin Rapids, and they advised me that I really don't have much grounds to even appeal, or they call it a restraining order, that I would need to go against the city of Nekoosa and then within 20 days I would have my day in court to show something. Well, after doing everything that I've done so far and coming up with the the improvements that need to be done to that home are greater than $15,700. The improvements that need to be done are closer to $20,000 to $25,000 in order not just to just get it in code. That's one thing, but finish the project, get everything done with the home where it's comfortable and suitable for living. It's above the 50%. The reason I'm coming here tonight is to ask if there may be any type of consideration for me to continue and follow through. I retired in July of last year from the Boilermakers. I come home when the snow left this year, so I can come home and take care of this, being my priority this summer to complete this project. Now I know I haven't showed very much, well, my effort was there, but actually getting things done wasn't. And I know you guys, like I said, you were more than helpful in allowing me to get this done, and I haven't done it. And because of me not having time or money at the time to do it, and for whatever reason, it didn't get done. But I'm coming here to ask if there's any possible way to reconsider. For me to hire an attorney to go to court in it's already passed the 30 days, so I've already passed my ability to even, file a restraining order, so I've already crossed that. I don't even know if there's anything I can do here tonight. I just come here to ask if there would be any consideration one more time for me to stay here and fix this home up correctly with the proper personnel to get it done, and get it done in a respectable time. And make it my priority to take care of it. I guess I'm at the mercy of everybody here, because there's really nothing more legally I can do with this matter, because as it stands right now, legally, I don't have nothing I can really challenge.
Right, I think at this point, the only course of action that we have is if there was a recommendation from one of the council members to grant you that permission, or to rescind, I guess, the raise order. That would be the only course of action, I guess, we'd have at this point.
Mr. Hinkton, my name is Jim Quinn. I'm the city attorney. Your recitation was pretty accurate. The information that the building inspector had given in his building inspector report was that they had valued the property at, I think, the structure of the property, not the structure in the land, at $26,900. But whether it's $27,000 or $31,000, it's neither here nor there. But the building inspector thought that to put the building in compliance with the code would be an expense in excess of $50,000. And one of the concerns that I know Police Chief Woods and Public Works Director Mr. Schmidt has always had is that even at a $25,000 expense, you might be doing the work and it might not be code compliant. But nonetheless, the audience that you're really speaking to is not me or the mayor, it's the aldermen that are here. I've been asked informally, can they rescind the motion that was made at the March Common Council meeting? I believe they could. Whether they can do it at this meeting or have to be on another meeting. And then the issue is it a majority vote or is it a 6-2 vote versus a 5-3 vote? And so I think you might, I know our Common Council normally will discuss items before anybody makes a motion. And so the real question is, does any of the, I would ask, if any of the Common Council members really have an appetite for making that kind of motion?
Well, I'll speak. I mean, I guess the only way I would go for something like that is if we had some sort of a guarantee as a time limit. That's the thing of it here is, how much time are you talking?
In order to complete this and have it done and inspected, I would ask if I could please have like the middle of September to the end of September to get everything done, because it's got to be done in steps. It's got to be, first and foremost, you got to start from the bottom. We got to start with the foundation, make sure that that's secure, and then after that, we need to move to the, make sure that the electrical is good and the plumbing. So once I get everything done that needs to be done, so I can, get power back into the home, get water into the home, so I can work more efficiently with it also. the last thing I'll probably do is I'll put the roof on it. It's not leaking now, but however, it could use a new roof too. That would probably be the last thing I would do with the home.
Yeah, right.
So that's the way I would approach it. Now, what I do need to do is find out if there's an exterior wall that I could abandon. You know, I could abandon part of this foundation if the city feels it's not repairable. I did talk to a mason with 53 years of experience, who's 72 years old. He's gonna meet with me Thursday. But I told him, he wanted to meet with me yesterday. I said, well, let me go to this meeting first to see if there's any consideration. There's no, you know, I don't want to involve him in the repair or involve, you know, he hasn't had a chance to look at what I have.
We've seen pictures of the building and stuff that were brought to us by Chief Woods and the building inspector. I don't know, 50,000, I mean, you said one amount, they basically got one that said 50. I mean, are you willing to go that for the house to?
For the square footage of the home, at $50,000, I think a person could tear down the home that size and probably build new for that type of home. You know, for the home, the square footage of that home, I mean, that's a, you know, I don't want to dispute the dollar amount, what they come up with.
Right.
It could be.
Well, and that's what I'm wondering, you know, if it's that kind of money, are you willing to put it into it? And if it, you know, and if you find a bad foundation where it's irreparable, then it just
Well, that's
comes
right.
down anyhow, correct?
Yeah, exactly. You know, there's a porch that's on that home, and the porch area, that was a problem. That was a problem with the foundation. That was a major problem with it. And, you know, I just verbally talked to this man on the phone, and he had told me that this could be corrected. And it would be done by a professional in a professional manner, and I would work hand in hand with the building inspectors here, and whatever I need to do, I get it done correctly. I don't plan on physically doing this work myself. I may monitor some of the work being done by the licensed people and proper people, you know, to see what I can, you know, make sure it gets done right this time. You know, I went home and I was disgusted. I got home, I opened up an addition that was put on there. It's not treated lumber, you know, the proper materials weren't used. I mean, I can see where it wasn't done properly. The wood should have been off of there, there should have been block laid in there, you know, check out the footings, you know, make sure that the walls are secure, the back. I mean, there's a lot of issues with the foundation, but they can be corrected. Now, $50,000 to me, I'm not willing to put $50,000 into the home. You know, I would abandon the home.
Yeah.
I've also talked to people about tearing down the home and what that would entail. And then I'd have a city lot. I mean,
Right.
Yeah, can I make a few comments on, just on behalf of, I know, Police Chief Woods and myself, I know Tom's owned the property, I think he said for 6 years, and my concern, and I think I'm echoing the police chiefs also, is that Tom's had ample opportunities to work on the property through the last 6 years. And, you know, I think we've been very disappointed in the efforts that were given and by the quality of the workmanship of anyone that was working there. So I know we have some strong reservations from staff, whether, you know, Tom has the ability financially and can get it done in a timely fashion. So that would be, I think, you know, from the staff's point of view, we really have concerns about that issue. Now, one of the things we talked about is the council did think that, you know, we should grant this. I know in the past we talked about some type of cash bond or letter of credit to be set aside to show the seriousness if the council would even consider going forward from that standpoint. So, my recommendation would be to stay the raise order, but if the council would want to reconsider, I think there's some steps we have to take to ensure that that it will be done, and that the financial wherewithal was there for the property. That'd be the recommendation on this side.
I'll remind the common council that I believe at the February meeting, in anticipation of the March meeting, I think your mother was present, and we had talked about her working with Mr. Schmidt with proposals from electricians, plumbers, HVAC contractors, letters of credit, estimates of the work. The message was pretty loud and clear that we wanted licensed contractors doing the work as opposed to the homeowner. And my recollection is that that game plan was never presented.
Right. I think because of Tom's absence and out of the country at that time, it just was not a possible situation to be able to do that at that time.
My mother's not quite, I'm familiar, I've been a Boilermaker since I've been 18 years old. I've worked around a lot of construction. I've worked around every trade that there is, and I work unions, so I'm familiar with how to do things right. When I retired, I was a superintendent for my company, and I have been for the last 5 years. But I'm not trying to pacify what had happened. I mean, like I said, I was given opportunity. I personally couldn't be here to monitor the work. Financially, I put money out there, but I didn't get my money's worth. This time I'm here. I'm here to make sure that this gets done right by the right people. If I get a chance,
But I've only heard one individual interested in even considering it. I mean, if there are not another 4 even interested in considering, I'd recommend that the discussion be closed. I can't put words into Chief Woods. I can't put words into his mouth, but I've worked with him enough on this project and along with Mr. Schmidt that it's the recommendation that the raise order that it would be passed and that it be followed.
Anybody else like to speak? For or against? Anybody has an opinion?
I say stay the course. Apple.
Brad?
I made my decision back in May. Either come back, if this would have been January, we'd be sitting in January, we might be able to do this meeting. But now you've got only 3 months. You got all that work that's got to get done. I'm sorry, I just can't. I'm done. We made our decision back in May, I think.
I think you kind of heard the common council speak, Mr. Hagan. And the order required 90 days from the time that it was served upon you, and I think the 90 days would expire sometime, May, June, July. I think it's either the end of July or early or sometime in August. If you're going to follow the order and see to it yourself that the raising occurs, that would, I can't give you advice, but that may save you some dollars. If the city has to go forward and hire a contractor to raise the property, the expense of that project will be assessed against your real estate as a tax.
Mr. Tony, the first week of August, the structure has to be gone and the foundation has to be secured and safe for the public, is that correct?
Correct. There is, the ordinance does talk about what happens when a building is torn down. I think here in the city of Nekoosa, foundation has to be literally removed. You
I'll
cannot
check into all that.
you cannot fill in a fountain. You cannot bring the foundation there and fill it in.
That I'm sure.
Do you have like a set of rules or stipulations?
Tom, you can get in touch with me and I can go over that. There's a permit for that. It's pretty simple, but it's pretty straightforward.
Thank you.
Is there any other old business that needs to come from the council? On to new business then. We have the compliance maintenance resolution.
I so moved. Second.
Is there any questions on it at all? Like, did you have anything?
I have a full copy here. I didn't copy it in a box. It's a, rather long report, but I can pass it around. It's the report that's going to be submitted to the DNR on our treatment plant, our annual operations for the treatment plant. Every year we meet all the requirements except one, and we fail at the financial management side of it. And for those of you relatively new, the reason we fail at the financial side is that we don't generate enough revenue in our billings for the sanitary sewer in order to pay for our operations and maintenance and our debt load. And so from a DNR standpoint, since we don't make enough money, we get an F. And I know in talking to the accountants, and I think as we start taking a closer look at our budget, that it'll be one of the things I think I'm going to ask the accountants to talk a little more about what does the future hold for our sanitary sewer area, and how should we take a closer look at it. All other operations at our wastewater plant are going well, as far as our handling of our waste and our water, and the actual performance of the plant is doing well. We do have some ongoing projects we're working on. I have a copy of the report. I'll just pass it around and you can take a look at what that looks like.
We do have a motion and a second to pass the compliance maintenance resolution. Roll call vote, please.
Brian?
Yes.
Schultz?
Yes.
Larry?
Yes.
Coon?
Yes.
Craig?
Yes.
Hamilton?
Yes.
Thomas?
Yes.
Wyatt?
Yes. Next item under new business is the Hobby Day proclamation. It's a proclamation to make June 29th of this year Hobby Day in Nekoosa. They will be, American Legion will be selling poppies throughout the city. I believe Terry's, Piggly Wiggly, a few other locations.
Second.
Motion and second to approve the Poppy Day proclamation. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Next on the agenda is the ordinance to repeal the residency requirement under the municipal code.
So moved.
Second.
Motion and a second to approve the ordinance to repeal residency requirement. Roll call vote, please.
Wyatt?
Yes.
Hamilton?
Yes.
Coon?
Yes.
Thomas?
Yes.
Brad?
Yes.
Brian?
Yes.
Larry?
Yeah.
Schultz?
Next on the agenda are the monthly reports. Police chiefs, public works, ambulance department, fire department, building inspector, community center report, airport commission monthly report.
Move to approve all the reports. Second.
Motion and second to accept the monthly reports. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Next on the agenda is approval of claims. Mr. Rush?
We have the 3 bill lists. And yeah, board review, 300. Airport commission, 55. Wage and salary, 195. Property rec, 250. Public safety, 250. Public works, 250. Ways and means, 250. Council, 520. Camera, 20. And mayor, 800. Yep.
Move to approve the bills.
Second.
Motion and second to approve the bills. Roll call vote, please.
Kuhn,
Yes.
Schultz,
Yes.
Towns, Wag,
Yes.
Freda,
Yes.
Brian,
Yes.
Hamilton,
Yes.
Larry.
Yes.
And lastly, are there any other issues that need to come in front of the council?
Move to adjourn.
Second.
Motion and second. Motion and second to adjourn. All in favor?
Aye.
Well, he's
I don't understand why you guys
Relocated. But I did notice, we graduated senior high school, so then, oh, we graduated both in 75, so there you go. Nice meeting you, good luck.
Brad Kramer, he used to be on the left, he used to be on.
Stubby, good job as always.
And.
You're not gonna be, you're on vacation again? I gotta watch it.
Zero.
Where you headed?
He's running business.
Big chip?
Are you?
You go there early, don't you?
It's all. I'm not kidding you. I'll show you his. I can show you his.
I know, well, they can't. Oh, yeah.